Hello, and welcome back to MTGplay. This week we are doing another Battle of the Builds, and what our focus on was our mentors. Now, what's going to be interesting is these are all from Ikoria, Lair of the Behemoths. Now, the challenge was you had to pick a mentor, and every creature in that deck had to have that mentor's ability. So if you had the Keen Sight mentor, it had to have Vigilance, all the creatures. If you had the Wingspan mentor, you had to have all your creatures have flying. If you had the Duskfane mentor, all your creatures had to have lifelink. And our Frill Scare mentor, all your creatures had to have Menace. And for the Hornbash mentor, all your creatures had to have Trample. Now, what's interesting about all of these is the fact that they all have the way to buff your creatures. Now, with our host and the creator of Battle of the Builds, MTG Blackhammer, he put a stipulation up. If you if you went with the Duskfang, because lifelink is such prevalent and it's so easy, then you would get one less point for your point total for the week. But if you happen to go with Frill Scale Mentor for Menace, you would be able to get one bonus point for the week. Now the pointing system is to be able to figure out the end of the season who we're going to be able to crown as the champion of the builders. And every single season it's going to be a little bit different. And as far as us, here at MTGplay, we decided to go with Frill Scare Mentor to try to get those bonus points. And the other stipulation was it had to be a 2-color deck. So if every creature was going to be here in Keen Sight Mentor, whether you go white X, no matter what the other color was, all the creatures had to have Vigilance. So let's go ahead and check out our deck. Now, since we knew for a fact this was going to be an aggro-based competition, we wanted to go a little more of a control, more of a mid-range route. Realistically, our deck would be considered mid-range. So, we're starting us off with Blood Chief's Thirst. To be able to just go early removal, and late game we can either deal with Planeswalkers or bigger creatures, because for 1 mana this deals with converted mana cost 2 or less, but late game for 4 mana it can deal with just any creature on the board. Agonizing Remorse, to be able to deal with Hand Hate, to be able to figure out what our opponent's on, what they're trying to do, and be able to deal with that. Now, we do lose 1 life, but this is essentially Thoughtseize for 2 mana. Heartless Act. Now, the reason we only have 2 of these is the fact that it can destroy a creature, but the fact that the mentors can put counters on their creatures, that might be a problem to deal with. So, we only put 2 in here because it can still a removal spell at instant speed. We have Grasp of Darkness. Grasp of Darkness is a nice instant speed removal, and the fact that we can also use it as a combat trick to make our opponent's creatures smaller with attack, power, and defense, so that when they're hitting our creatures, it's not going to deal as much. Or if we just need to do a little extra damage in the end to get rid of them, we can do that. Labyrinth Raptor. Now, what's really nice about this is it just pretty much overall for a Menace deck, it is great. Whenever a creature you control with Menace becomes blocked, defending players sacrifices a creature blocking it. So often, it can make it so that your creatures will live through this. And the fact that it can pump all of your Menace creatures is an added bonus. Stormfist Crusader is our draw. Unfortunately, it does let our opponent draw, but it also has a nice pinging to it. Hunted Nightmare. Now, this is our biggest creature. The downside about Hunted Nightmare is that it can give our opponent creatures Death Touch, but with how much removal we have, it's not often an issue with test playing. Frill Scale Mentor, it is our mentor of choice to be able to try to go for those bonus points. It will be able to give a non-human creature mentor, but unfortunately all of our other creatures have mentor, Menace, so that's not the benefit. The huge benefit about this card, though, is the fact that we can put a 1/1 counter on each creature that has Menace. And we come down to what I think is one of the best benefits for Menace as a whole. So, the fact that each creature you control with Menace can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, it's like Super Menace. And it's ending pretty much the deck. We have Extinction Event. Since we wanted to go more of a mid-range controlling type deck, since we knew everybody else was going to pretty much play aggro, we wanted an Extinction Event. And another reason we added Agonizing Remorse is in case somebody else had the same idea as us here at MTGplay to go more of a mid-range or control style show. And Extinction Event is just a board wipe. You can deal with all the odd creatures, all the even creatures. Now we have Temple of Malice, 4 of them, 8 mountains, 10 swamps, and 2 Castle Lockblades. If we had the wild cards, we would have put all 4, because I genuinely like this card, but we only had the 2, so that's what we put in here. As far as our sideboard, Rotoma Crypt, just in case somebody's playing out of the graveyard. A Duress, if we have to go more of the controlling matchup. And then Shredded Sails to do with artifacts. You never know when an artifact could pop up, so it's always good if you can have a little bit of artifact hate. Elspeth Nightmare to do more into the controlling route and also deal with the graveyard. The Liberation, mainly to deal with enchantments, because we don't know what enchantments our opponents could be playing, but it also is added removal for creatures. And now Eat to Extinction can deal with creatures, but it's mainly here for planeswalkers. I would have put 2 in here, but I did not have the available wild cards. Deadly Alliance is essentially here for the planeswalkers. It can be played for creatures, but it's mainly here for the planeswalkers. Now, Ugin and Spirit Dragon, it's a little interesting to see in this build, but essentially the reason why it's here is if we have a controlling, grinding match where we just keep killing each other's stuff or somebody's countering my spells, and it gets real late game, we have Ugin as an additional win con. So anyway, today we're going to be playing Risen Dragon. And Risen Dragon, if you'd like to check their channel out, they're Risen Dragon Gaming over at YouTube. And then as well as if you'd like to check out their Twitter, they are Risen Dragon Game. Today we're going to be doing a traditional standard. And we're about getting ready to play. Alright, so they accepted our challenge. We're going to select our deck. We are Menace. We are men. Alright. Awesome. And if you like the content you're seeing, go ahead and subscribe. We really do appreciate it here over MTGplay. Every single subscriber, we truly appreciate you. Whether you're watching on the go or at home, if you like to be the first to be able to see the uploaded videos, go ahead and hit that bell so you can get a notification every time we upload new videos. And if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and hit that like button. We really do appreciate it over here at MTGplay. It lets us know that you truly appreciate what we're doing. And if you want to comment down below about any kind of future content you might want to see, that would be amazing. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be on the play. Alright. So what would be nice is to have a few removal spells and at least one creature in the opening hand. So we got that. We got a removal spell. We did get some hand hate. It's going to be a little difficult to deal with this one. I don't know what our opponent's on. But only having one creature, I'm going to go ahead and try it just because we have Agonizing Remorse and a removal. And we are on the play, so I guess it's like, no, it looks like we're in the draw. Alright, so that's weird. So we're going to keep. So it looks like we're in the draw now. We were on the play earlier. That's interesting. Okay, we're going to keep this. Then turn 1, we're going to go with Temple of Malice. And then we're going to hit up. Next turn, then we'll go into Agonizing Remorse. So we'll play Temple of Malice, and we'll go into Mountain, and then Agonizing Remorse to deal with our opponent's hand. Then from there, realistically, we'll play. Okay, so our planet's on Dimir. So they could have went into the control. I don't know if they went with the flyer or if they went with the lifelink. My instincts is the flyer here. Alright, so this is a sorcery speed, so I would like to get the scry on because we don't need the land. We definitely don't need that. We got too much land. Hopefully the keeping this doesn't bite us later on, but we do have a way to deal with their hand next turn, as well as remove a creature. Alright, so our opponent is truly on Dimir. So now what we're going to do is we're going to Agonizing Remorse our opponent, try to see what they got in the hand. Okay, so Drown in the Lock, we really don't want the counter spell, but this is also Brazen Bower. It's to bounce something to our hand. So I want something to resolve, so I want to get rid of the Drown in the Lock. If they bounce something, it still lives, but it's not the end of the world. Realistically, our opponent will be playing either one of the lands, which would make sense. Okay, so they're just holding off to bounce unless drawing something we don't know. But the game plan next turn, so unfortunately our opponent's on Ymir, and giving him extra draw could hurt. Realistically, they could be also doing some milling shenanigans, but if I'm seeing that fairy, that means they're probably on rogue strategy, which is actually a competitive deck. But it does miss some pieces of the standard variation due to the simple fact that not all the creatures in the standard variation have flying. Sorry, so what we're going to do is we're going to play this, and then we'll go ahead and play the Crusader just to start getting some damage in. and then we'll pass. Curious our opponent's thinking. I mean, it's possible they could be bouncing our Crusader. Yeah, okay, so bounce a Crusader. Alright, so next turn, we know Bloodchief's Thirst we can use because they might be playing the Raisin Borrower. We also got a bunch of creatures. We could go into playing two. We know that they have counter spells. Okay, so the Fae. So are they playing this for the adventure? I'm curious what they're going to pull out of their sideboard. Right, so, they got Ashiok. Great. So we're going to have to hold off the Bloodchief's Thirst for Ashiok. But for now, we're going to just have to play out two creatures, try to get ahead of the game. Since this can only block creatures with flying. Yes. And we also have the Howlbounder next turn. We'll make it so that we can have three creatures out. The issue is if they do have a land in hand and they have Ashiok in hand, so this could be a problem. And we have to hold off for Bloodchief's Thirst simply for the Ashiok. Because if that gets out of hand, that's going to be a huge problem. So realistically, what's coming down is they're going to play Ashiok. And then, I'm not sure if they'll probably kill a creature of ours, but at the same time, that would make the most sense if they were to play Ashiok and then they were to remove one of our creatures, but they might have something else in hand so that their deck realistically does have Flash in it as well. Playing a little bit blind. Alright, so, they decided to Bloodchief's Thirst a creature. And then they have some fairies that they can play. Alright, so they got their Fae out. So since we can still get around it, since we have Menace, there's a little bit of an issue that we got rid of our Pump. Alright, so we're going to draw an extra card. Alright, so we did not draw Removal Spell, we did draw Agonizing Remorse. So now what we're able to do is just get Ashiok right out of their hand. So we have the counter spell or not. So if they have the counter spell, they're definitely not going to want to lose Ashiok. But if they don't have the counter spell, then they're losing Ashiok. Okay, so they got the Drown Lock, yep. So now we're going to have to hold off for Bloodchief's Thirst. So now I'm going to play the Howlbounder. Go ahead and swing it in. So we got Bloodchief's Thirst to deal with Ashiok next turn. The fact that even if they would have to play two creatures just to block one of ours. Hopefully we can draw some more removal. Unfortunately, Extinction Event would be a bad card for us to draw since we have odd and evens out, but there's also the quick chance that they're going to play Now that they played Ashiok, there's a very good chance that they're going to just remove one of our creatures. They might make a token, which is possible. Okay, so they made a token. It's okay. We can deal with that. We're going to have to Ashiok. We're going to have to remove Ashiok. Hopefully can we get a kill spell? No, not a kill spell. Okay, so we're going to Temple of Malice to try to get a draw out of this. Okay, so now we do not want the land. Now let's deal with Ashiok. Ashiok has been dealt with. They have two creatures. Since they can't block either of ours, we're going to go straight aggro. We're going to take the advantage. Unfortunately, this thing is going to mill. Yeah, so we're going to be milling some cards. Next, they're highlighting over, so they might be removing some of our creatures. I don't know. I'm hoping that they are run out of counter spells and kill spells. Next turn, we're going to be playing Stormfist Crusader. And then from there, we're going to be doing 2 damage each turn. It's guaranteed damage. It'd be nice. Okay, so now Soaring Thought Thief is a flyer, but they've added their third creature, which is unfortunate. So realistically, they're not going to attack at all. So they can be on the defense and then just killing some of our creatures in the process. It would be nice if we could get the Howlbonder to live, but also we need to get as much damage in as possible. Okay, so we lost the Howlbonder, so now they don't even need to attack with 2 creatures, which is not good. But we are going to be able to get an extra draw. So we know for a fact. Okay, so Brazen Bar. So now that they have flooded with creatures, so weirdly enough, probably would be our best draw is Extinction Event, because if we can get Extinction Event, we can blow up 3 of their creatures, and Brazen Borrower can't block Stormfist Crusader, so we're already getting in some extra damage. So, okay, perfect. Our removal spell, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play our land, deal with creatures. So the creature that I really want to deal with is the Soaring Thought Thief, for the simple fact that we don't want them to mill us extra. And then we're going to pop out both of our Crusaders, trying to get an extra damage. Nine, so that's 1, 2, 3, 6 damage. So I might have misplayed. I was trying to get as much creatures as possible, but because we can do guaranteed 6 damage to them is if they attack. If not, next turn 3 damage, they'll be at 6. We have the advantage because we have an absolute 3-turn clock on them. They can't attack with anything but... Okay, so now they have an extra creature out. If we can get an Extinction Event, this would be very wonderful. The only problem is we have all even creatures. We have to deal... So Nighthawk Scavenger is a problem. Gone so aggro, and now they're going to be able to mill us a bit more. Possibly get rid of some of our creatures. Okay, so we lost an Agonizing Remorse, and we lost a land? Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to draw 3 cards. Okay, Extinction Event is wonderful to see. And the fact that they have 3 creatures up, but we're going to go with Odd. Yeah, we go with Odd. Okay, wait, how much mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when we play this gives us 8 mana to work with. Okay, so we have 8 mana, and that's all we need was 7. Okay, so this should be GG's. So we have even, so we're going to play Extinction Event. We're going to hit Odd. And then we just go swinging. Unless they have the counter spell, they do have some mana up. The fact that they drew 3 cards is a huge downside, because if they don't have the counter spell, we lost. I mean, if they do have the counter spell, we lost. But if they don't have the counter spell, then that's just GG's. Okay, so we're going to go with even. Wait, no, we need odd. My mistake. Since we have even creatures, we need to go with odd. If we're going with odd, we're able to deal with pretty much their board. And now we have the Howlbonder. Because if they can't counter the Howlbonder, then that's just GG's. Alright, good game. Unless they can bounce something, which is possible. We did give them 3 extra cards. Because right now we would take 3 from our opponent. If they fall on attack, all attacks. Okay, so then our turn we win. Unless they can bounce more to our hand. So we're going to take 2 damage. They can do 3. Actually, it would just be a draw at this point if they fall on attack. It would be very strange. Not expect to see this a draw. They don't fall on attack. We win. I mean, I could block. No, it wouldn't be a full on. Okay. So if they pass, they can do 1 damage to us, but I would have to guarantee, I have to block. They have 1 card in hand. They have 2 mana up, so they could do some shenanigans, but I have to block so I can get the win. Okay, because now, we just win. Good game. GG's. Okay, awesome, we got it. So now with them playing rogues, we're going to have to go a little more to the control route. Alright, so we know they're going to play out, they're going to destroy our graveyard. We have, that time our aggro plan was able to get their Extinction Event was huge. I almost want to go a little bit more into the control route. So this doesn't have Mentor, I can't put counters on things, but in that matchup that didn't help us. I want to remove 2 of these. And as far as our kill spells, so this is instant speed, let's add 2 more of those. Our Labyrinth is good. We have Extinction Event, which is necessary. Bloodchief's Thirst is good. Agonizing Remorse, I don't know if we want to add more to that. They didn't really get their Mentor out, but they didn't have any other way to add counters. Grasp of Darkness is huge. It can deal with any of their creatures. And we have extra card draw. So as far as this goes, I'm feeling like that might be it. We were able to get the win in because of Extinction Event and the Crusader. Crusader came in clutch, but also could have killed us. Well, it could have ended us in a draw. But as far as this goes, I think that's it. I just want to add in the extra removal in case they have. I don't think they're going to have the shark card, but they're going to probably bring in more counter spells. The reality is they're going to bring in more counter spells if they have it. But they're a blue deck, so they would realistically have it. I want to keep as much removal as possible. But I don't want to remove too many creatures, and we already removed 2 creatures. I think this is how we're going to just play it. We're going to add in 2 removal spells. Enchantment to deal, I don't know, maybe putting 1 Ugin in, but I don't know what I'd pull for an Ugin. So they're going to go more in the controlling route. Would be my instinct, but I think we're just going to go with this. If we go into match 3, I'm definitely going to bring in an Ugin, and I think probably actually the Duresses might be a good idea. Because they're already going more into the control route. Honestly, I'm thinking of just pulling Mentor or Bloodchief's Thirst, but we want all of our kill spells as possible. We're going to go with it. If we go into game 3, we're going to bring in some Duresses and some Ugins, but I don't know what to cut. Okay, so we have a Hand Hate, we have some Extinction, we're definitely going to be on the draw, and we have some creatures. We don't have much of removal until turn 4, so who knows what's going to happen. Alright, so we're starting off with advantage already. It's not a big deal. So we're going to play our Swamp, and the next turn we're going to go with Mountain into Agonizing Remorse. As much as I want to play a creature, I want to pull out their counter spells if they have them, or I want to be able to take out any threats as quickly as possible. Okay, so now they're not going to have counter spell mana. They can deal. Okay, so 2 Wind Robbers. That is a bit of a problem. But if they have a Soaring Thoughtseek, Thorn. Oh, okay. So they have 2 counter spells and 2 kill spells. They have ways to put things in the ground, but I think the Nighthawk Scavenger is, since we don't have removal, we have only. Okay, so this is a little difficult because we do have Extinction Event and we don't want it to get countered. But the Nighthawk Scavenger is going to gain some life, and also with these 2 Merfolk Wind Robbers, the creatures are going to definitely add to this. But they're also going to add to this. So I want to actually let's get rid of a Drawn in the Lock. The simple fact that they're both going to grow, but I would like to be able to hold off as many counter spells as possible. And I feel like they're going to try to go more of a defensive route. And if we play the Crusader, they're definitely going to counter it, just the fact that they lost to it last time. Alright, so we lost another Extinction Event and a creature. Since we don't need those, let's go with Temple of Malice to scry. So this is good. It's not a kill spell, though, and I kind of want a kill spell, but them having counter spells, I'm just going to leave that on top. So now since I know they are going to probably want to counter this. This they might be fine, but also it's a kill spell. Yeah, let's try to draw the counter out. Alright, so it lived. Since they can kill it, but they also might have something with flash. Or they might be waiting, because it does give them card draw as well. Alright, so when we go to play Extinction Event, we're going to have to make sure they don't have open mana. And they have the advantage right now, since they've been able to deal with more damage, and I'm just realizing that might have been bad to leave it up top. Losing out on a kill spell is very, very painful. Alright, so we're drawing 2 cards. So its kill spell would be wonderful. So now, okay, so Temple of Malice. So what, if it's anything beneficial, we're going to have to put it on the bottom, unfortunately. Because I completely forgot these mill. I don't know why I forgot, but I did. So are they gonna, okay, so they're removing it. So no, now we know the counter spell isn't there. Stormfist Crusader, we're gonna have to put it at the bottom for the simple fact that we're gonna lose it. Alright, so now we're gonna go with Labyrinth Raptor. Looking like we're on a big disadvantage this time around. So we're gonna take 2, we're gonna mill 2 more. We also will have a counter spell in there if their Nighthawk Scavenger to start gaining more life. As long as that's not what we wanted to see. Alright, so they've gotten rid of 2 extinction events. Really using this. They have counter mana up. There's nothing I can do except attack and pump a few times. And they might have a bounce spell or a kill spell. We might just have lost this one. Yeah, just gonna have to pump it up twice. No, yeah, twice. Pump it again. Go swing. I'm down to 15, or is he killed or bounced? Well, it gets bounced. Yay. So what I'm hoping they do next turn, I'm gonna have to play Extinction Event, but them holding up Jarnlock is killing me. And now with them having 4 mana, if they can play their Scavenger or their Rogue, but this does have Flash, so basically they're not gonna want to play that. They're holding up the mana to be able to cow. That's not good. No, that was horrible to see. 2 kill spells. That's not good. And they have the counter spell in hand that we can see, so we're just going to have to play the Labyrinth Raptor. They're slowly milling us, and we're dead in 5 turns if we can't play our Extinction Event. We know it's going to get countered. Probably play out the Brazen Bowers, so that's Flash. Oh, I'm very surprised about that. Okay, so now we're just going to take the game. We can't do anything about it. They've been milling our removal spells. Milling creatures. They have a counter spell in hand. We need to be able to draw another Extinction Event. The fact that they've milled 2 of them is a big problem. Okay, so land and... Okay, so that's not a huge problem. It's not good that we're losing a lot of our creatures. We only have so many. Alright, so yeah, so we're just going to have to go for our turn. Alright, so that was another creature, so we're going to have to try to draw out a counter. The only concern is if they play the counter, yeah. So it resolves. They might have another counter in hand. I need to stop the mill. So I'm just going to go for it. If they have another counter in hand, they have another counter in hand, but I have to stop them from milling me. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna have to. Do they have the counter, or they no? All right. Still have to select odd. Stops the mill for now. And now going attacking for 2. Unless they have another bounce spell. Another bounce spell. Alright. So they have the full Monty advantage. We're at 8 life. Faye. If we want to get the creature down, we can deal with it. The problem, though, is if they have the counter spell. Do they get the counter spell, or does it resolve? I'm going to be honest, I have never played against that card, so I had no idea it could even do that. So they have the Nighthawk Scavenger. It would be wonderful if you can get a counter spell out of it. I mean, a kill spell. It's taking 5. We're already in such a problem. Alright, so it's going to be our turn. Not a kill spell, but we're gonna go for it. We're getting mana flooded like crazy. So all attacks. And pump it up. Yeah, she's gonna pump jams, pump it up. We are in such a bad position though. The fact that they're gonna deal 5 to us and gain 5 realistically. There's not much we can do about that. If we can draw into another event extinction, or we can draw some removal spells, I think it'll be fine. But since they just milled us so quickly, we're at a huge disadvantage right now. I mean, it's not a threat of being bailed out. It's a threat of the fact that we're so behind on our removal. They have the huge advantage on the creatures. Alright, so that is essentially game. Since we can't do anything about this, they just gained a bunch of lives. So that's GG's. Okay, so in that game, the problem was they just milled us out. And it's kind of what their deck's partially designed to do. It is rogues. It is a problem. So then, a counter spell. So, yeah, I want to remove. I think, yeah, just go with both of the mentors. As far as bringing in more, yeah, let's both the duresses, because the counter spells is a problem. I want to keep all extinction events, but I'm thinking Ugin to bring back for late game. Actually, I'm going to cut a mountain for Ugin. That seems that does not seem smart, but I don't know what else to cut. I might actually just need to go more into the control mode and bring in both Ugins. Put the mountain back in, go full control. Because a lot of the creatures... So I'm struggling here what to do. Actually, I think that's the mistake. I would like to bring in Ugin, but I think cutting a mountain is not the right choice. Because we're getting flooded, but we do need them. We'll play our creatures. It's such a disadvantage. So we brought in the duresses. We are so low on creatures. We need to be able to deal with their counter spells. This would be another way to... This is a kill spell and duress. Also exile the graveyard, which is not really a concern. It's more of the counter spells and the fact that if this gets countered, we're bounce back to our hand. I'd rather just play straight duress. We can go down one Liberation since it's our slowest kill spell, but it's still another kill spell. This helps get in multiple creatures. We have our Nightmare as our biggest creature, our biggest threat. First, it gives things Death Touch. That's not a big problem. Okay, we're going to try playing it like this. As much as, I mean, Ugin probably would be the best. I just don't know where to bring Ugin. We only have 10 seconds. You're going to have to go with it. We're going to have to hope we can pull off the win. Hopefully we can draw more kill spells. We can get some hand hate early on. It would be great if we could do that. So we're going to play. I think this is a bit of an advantage. Okay, so we have kill spell, kill spell, kill spell, creature, board wipe. Just going to play it. Yeah, keep it. This is how we designed the deck. And we may only have one creature, so as long as this creature can live, we're fine. So we're going to start off with a swamp. We're going to pass. So next, realistically, we're going to play the Bloodchief's Thirst or the Labyrinth Raptor. There's the tap land, so we're going to play the Raptor. And they're either going to have... Hopefully, they just have creatures. Okay, so we drew in another kill spell. That's exactly what we wanted. I want to be able to deal with all of the everything that's going on in their hand. So we do have 2 instants. So realistically, as much as I would like to buff this, we're not going to be able to buff. We're not going to buff it. We're going to hold off for 2 kill spells because if they have flash creatures, that is a problem. Okay, so that is a problem. So now we are at a huge disadvantage. Only creature in our hand, they just removed it. Now we're going to have to just play a game where we're killing our creatures, our opponent's creatures, before they can do anything. We hopefully can draw into a creature ourselves, but they might have the counter spell up. Okay, so that's another land. That's not good. Alright, so we're just passing. They play something. Alright, so Brazen Brower. So we're going to resume our turn, so resolve. And then we are going to kill it. Actually, let's hold that one back and we'll just go destroy a creature with no counters. Realistically, they're not going to have any enchantments. I think this is the best route to go. Since... Alright. Now we have 2 instant speed removal spells, and we're going to have to keep playing it like that. Because we don't have any creatures. Not having any creatures is not beneficial at all. Or have a way to win. So I guess putting in the Ugin was probably going to be the smartest thing to do. For the reason I put it on the sideboard, and I should have put it in the game. Okay, so the thing. Fortunately, they have counterspell magic up. And it is CMC too, so let's just try it out. Alright, so we got there. We got there, and there's no way they would have let it resolve if they had the counterspell. So if we get a Raptor down, the problem is if they have a kill spell, because we have 3 cards in our graveyard. 3 cards in our graveyard. We put out the Mentor. We do have Menace. We have 2 removal spells and a board wipe. I don't know what's in their hand, but my instinct is that they would not have played this. Unless, okay, so the Bloodchief's Thirst. Yay, we're out of creatures again. Alright, so we're going to have our opponent sacrifice a creature. Let me sack the creature. Unfortunately, without us having a creature, we just can't win. And it's not good. Not good at all. We might have lost this week. Hopefully the bonus points will come through. The Rankle Master of Pranks. Alright, so we're going to lose some life. we're going to discard a card. So I want to keep Extinction Event in hand, and unfortunately we have to let go of Grasp of Darkness. Alright, so this is a problem and it has to be dealt with now. They don't have counter mana, so gotta kill it. So we're gonna have to play our Howlbender because we can finally get a creature on the board and start doing some damage. The problem is that they have so many counter spells and so many kill spells possibility to them that we could be hurting. Right, so Nighthawk, we're going to have to deal with that. Them gaining life is not beneficial. The problem is they have 2 mana up, so let's see, what are we drawing? Alright, so that's a creature, let's do that. So I cannot let this resolve as much as I want to hit more creatures. So the problem is that they could have counter spells up if they... I can't Howl, Bend, and then Extinction Event, so I'm going to have to go with Extinction Event and hope that it resolves. Alright, so odd. Alright. I didn't want to use it for one creature, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So next turn, I'm going to play Howlbender and then the Raptor. And that's not good. Okay. I guess I could have waited one more turn. The fact that they're going to be netting 4 life, hitting us for 4, we're going to be so behind. Because now we're on a 4-turn clock. I mean, the fact that we do have the Labyrinth Raptor means we can we can buff both of our menace creatures, and that's not good. So we'd have to spend all of our mana just to be able to keep up with Scavenger. So we have to draw a kill. Oh, and that shook. That's just... Unfortunately, I think we're not going to pull off the win this week. Oh, okay, so there is a match timer. They bounce that to the hand, then exile it. Be another creature, but there's not a whole lot we can do. The fact that they can play another creature. They can hit us for 4, so we're at a 3-turn clock. It's looking like Risen Dragon pulled it off with Rogues. Yeah. Pulled it off with Rogues. So now we're going to take 4. And go up, so that's just GG's. Gonna just give it to him. Because we did not draw a board wipe. Good game. And that was it. We conceded. We couldn't come back. They removed all the creatures we had. By the time Nighthawk came down, they were just going to be gaining too much life. I mean, even if we put Ugin in, we didn't have enough mana to play Ugin. Overall, I guess game 1 we got lucky, but them bringing in more counter spells and more kill spells, I guess Drowning the Lock was probably in their main board, it would make sense, but just bringing in more kill spells genuinely hurt. Didn't see any of the duresses. I could have went full control package, but at that point, we were so far behind with their creatures that there wasn't a whole lot we could do. It was very unfortunate. I guess the only thing I could have done was try to go in the full control package. But we lost, and it happens. Risen Dragon got the best of us this week. Well, thank you for joining us here at MTGplay. We really enjoyed playing the game. We didn't get to the victory that we wanted, but at least we got to play. And that's really all that matters sometimes. So, again, we really do appreciate you all coming in to join us, whether you're at home or on the go, and hopefully you all are staying safe. Again, this is MTGplay. If you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to be some of the first to see the content that we upload, go ahead and hit that bell so you get a notification to be some of the first to see it. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like it. We'd really appreciate it. And down below, if you'd like to comment what you'd like to see for the future videos, that would be amazing. We're going to have some future videos in the next few weeks of more Battle of the Builds. And this week we played against Risen Dragon Gaming. If you'd like to check them out on YouTube, it's Risen Dragon Gaming. If you'd like to check them out on Twitter, it's Risen Dragon Game. Anyway, this is MTGplay, and you all have a wonderful day.